The Congress has hit out at the BJP over the State Bank of India asking for more time to submit details of the electoral bonds. Party chief Mallikarjun Kharge accused the Narendra Modi government of using the State Bank of India as a shield to hide its dubious dealings through electoral bonds, alleging the Supreme Court of India had struck down Modi government's black money conversion scheme of electoral bonds. Now, the Supreme Court in a historic judgment last month had struck down the electoral bond scheme, holding it unconstitutional, and had told the SBI to give information to the Election Commission by the 6th of March. But just yesterday, the SBI requested the Supreme Court to extend the deadline till June 30th. Now, the Congress has hit out, claiming that this is connected to the upcoming elections.
एसबीआई ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट से कहा है कि यह डेटा देने में एसबीआई असमर्थ है और उसको 30 जून 2024 तक का वक्त चाहिए। मतलब टोटल 5 महीने का वक्त इस देश के सबसे बड़े बैंक स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया को चाहिए। डेटा देना है 22,217 इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड का। एसबीआई को एक क्लिक ऑफ अ बटन पर यह डेटा मिल जाना चाहिए। इसके लिए एसबीआई को 5 महीने चाहिए।
All right, to talk more about this, we're now joined by Ikram Singh Sandhu, spokesperson of the Congress Party, and Abhishek Ram, economist and fellow member ICAI, joining us, and also later will be joined by someone who supports the BJP as well. Abhishek Ram, first to you. Now, what the Congress is, alleging is that why should it take the SBI so much time? Why have they asked for 5 more months to give this information? That it's something that they should be able to retrieve fairly quickly. What are your comments on that, if you can explain it to us?
See, electoral bonds are like bearer bonds. So they are available by the notified bank, which is SBI.
Yes.
The purchaser, whosoever invests in electoral bond, so every party gives some time, the issues. So every year in January, July, April and October, these are issued for 10 days. And in case of year of elections, 30 additional days are being provided. So once a bond is notified by the party, then the person visits a bank online, and then he makes payment through checks or through online way. If he is not, it doesn't have a bank with SBI, then a payment remittance slip has to be heard. And
right.
Then every document for KYC has to be provided to the SBI, including PAN, Aadhaar, in case of company, the incorporation certificate, and board resolution also, authorizing the person or the director or someone to make the payment. These are in various amount denomination, right. 1,000 to 1 crore.
Right, but so Abhishek Ram, with the SBI saying that they need, more time, retrieval of information is time consuming, does this sound valid to you? If you could explain that to us.
If they don't have any computerized data, if they don't have any computerized data for these bearer bonds matching with the person who has bought it and then gifted to the political party, then it might take much of the time. But as I feel that everything was faceless and it was done through banking channels, I feel that this timelines they are asking is too much. Probably.
No, and also the fact that they ask on the 4th of March, they're meant to give all this information by the 6th of March, but 4th of March they approached the Supreme Court saying that, it's not possible to access all this information. So that also, raises some questions.
No, why they want this much of the time, that has to be explained. Why they are asking for this much of the time? Means they want to say that they don't have the detail of 22,000 people who have invested. They are not able to match the party who has encashed it or who has bought this bond. So their accounts are not computerized. They mean to say they have manual entries and the detail is with someone else. So that could be a possibility. If
All right, we're also joined. Okay, we're also joined by
Account
Vineet
for-
Goenka, political analyst, someone who supports the BJP. Your comments on this, what we're discussing about, and how the Congress has claimed that the SBI is basically being used to shield the government, and at the last minute approaching the Supreme Court saying they don't have this information regarding electoral bonds. It's going to take them months to come up with this information.
Kharge, Ram Ram to you, Ram Ram to all my co-panelists and all the viewers who are watching me right now. Now, the answer has to be given by the SBI why they don't have the data right now or why they are trying to delay it. So that cannot be answered by anybody else other than the official spokesperson of SBI. But as far as it goes for me as a layman, it is not of a bother to me. I think, every organization takes its own time. We can't go back and ask judges why the cases have been taking 30 years. I recently read a judgment where the bomb blast judgment was given after 20 years.
Right, but the Congress has hit out saying that this is an effort to shield the government, that they don't want this information to come out, and especially they're linking it to the elections, that they don't want this information to come out before the elections.
No, I think you're reading too much. See, I'll tell you, every organization has its own timeline.
I'm not reading, I'm saying the Congress is saying this, yes.
So you or Congress or anybody, and everybody has the right to claim that the ruling dispensation would not like to have these data before the election. But I think every organization has its own time, and the time which they take to give out data should be perfect, and then we should respect them. Now, in case we have a doubt, we can always go back to SBI and ask them why it is so that you're not giving the data. Or the same way, as a layman, as a common man, I can also request the lordship that, sir, why do you take so much years, 30 years, 40 years? Sometimes, the victims are, they are dead. Sometimes the accused is dead before you come out.
I don't think you can compare, the Supreme Court,
Right,
the court
they have more wisdom than us,
cases
right,
or hearing cases to the SBI providing this information. But anyway, let me ask Ikram Singh Sandhu, your comments on this. The Congress really taking this up in a big way and, hitting out over how this information is not being given before elections.
Good evening, Kharge, and a good evening to all my co-panelists. Electoral bonds, as we say it, is one of the most corrupt piece of legislation, not just in India, I can say in the whole world, which has ever come into existence. It was an opaque system through which you could have political donations, which nobody knows who is giving, who is receiving. And it was basically a system through which you were incentivizing corruption, that you can cajole people, you can threaten people, and you can incentivize people to give you money, and then you use that money for your own means. Now, Supreme Court came up with a landmark judgment, though we'll say 6 years too late, but it did come up with the judgment. And a caveat that was added in that judgment is that, SBI has to come up with who donated to whom, and Election Commission has to put it on its website. Now, what do we have here? There are 22,000 entries, which have to be correlated against 22,000 recipients. Now, a organization which has 2.5 lakh employees, if it cannot do it in 18 days, what digital India are we talking about here? Give somebody a team of 20 people a day and they will be able to collate this information for you. So it is very clear here that dal mein kuch kala hai, and the instruction is from the government of the day that go slow on this. We do not want this information out in the public domain. And the date is also so suspicious. The election process finishes by end of May, and 30th June is the time that SBI is talking about, that by 30th June, we will be able to give this information. So it is very clear that SBI has been instructed by their political masters that you dare not come up with any information on this. You have to, any which way, obfuscate on this so that
all
this
right,
information
Vineet Goenka, your reaction to that,
which is going to embarrass the BJP should not come out.
I have been enlightened by the Congress spokesperson. As a layman, I have certain observation. Like, for example, in National Herald case, did they provide all the data? There it was only a small company run by few people, few thousand crore rupees. The data could have come out. But I think, the Congress spokesperson can enlighten me why the National Herald case data has not come out till now. Or number two, Congress only has 4 or 5 bank accounts, but in income tax, when the income tax asks for the returns, for the details, they were not even aware how many bank accounts they have. They have not deposited the income tax return. So, a party which has been engrossed in doing this kind of malversation, when they blame a bank when they come out with this kind of justification, it hurts the people. Now, a simple thing, 210 crore rupees to be paid as income tax by Congress, were they not aware of this? They could have done
Right,
that.
but Vinit Goenka, that's an opposition party. Those are other cases. But this is a matter the Supreme Court has ruled on and asked for this information to be provided. Yes, Ikram Singh Sandhu?
Mr. Goenka is playing that classic BJP team that you do DDLJ,
No, I'm talking to as a
you
layman, sir.
divert
I'm not
the
talking
issue,
as a BJP,
you dissect the issue, you lie about it, and you justify
Isn't
what
it
you're
true
not
that you
able
have
to
an
do.
income tax account? You're not
I did not interrupt you, Mr.
Yes,
Goenka,
yes.
so
Because
kindly
you
have the
those
same
who blame
courtesy,
the
otherwise I will interrupt you every time you are speaking. Please, I did not interrupt you. As far as you are talking about our accounts, we have already said what you are talking about is we were 45 days late in filing our returns. For it,
But all right, this is not about the Congress accounts. Finally, Vinit Goenka, your final comment on what the Congress is claiming that the fact that this information the SBI said, which is very pertinent to elections, so that the citizens of the country know which corporate gave which party how much money, that information will not be given to them, it seems now.
Gargiji, if you could
They
just
will
give
not
me
give,
one
they will
minute.
give it. There is a court order. They have to give it, Gargiji. Did they ever
But
say
not
no to it?
before elections, it seems. The date of the Supreme
I
Court
think-
is not going to be
If that is
adhered.
the graph, then court should tell them, give it tomorrow. I think they will oblige. Everybody respects the wisdom of court, even if they give judgment in court.
Okay.
Bomb blast after 30 years, but we respect that wisdom.
All right, well, we'll wait and see. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, completely
Gargi,
out
if you
of
could
time,
just
but
give me
thank
1
you all
minute.
for
If you
joining
could
me on
just
the
give me 1
program.
minute.
And this is, the big issue that we're tracking.